Dubai has over 800 hotels and even more service departments and countless standalone units popping up on booking websites every single day, each one promising to redefine luxury hospitality. But in 2025, what does that even mean? Welcome to DBATE, a podcast series by DAMAC, where we dive deep into all forms of real estate and look ahead at what's to come. Today, I'm joined by two men spearheading DAMAC Group's diverse hospitality portfolio. Dean Rossilli, SVP of Hospitality, and Akshay Sood, Head of Commercial. Together, we're going to look at the moments, the mindsets, and the market shifts that are reshaping how we approach hospitality in a post-pandemic, post-platform, post-cookie-cutter world. Hi, guys. Welcome to DBATE.
Hello. Hi.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, thanks for
Good to
joining
see
us
you.
today. Yeah. So, we're here to talk about hospitality. But before we really dive into that, let's start with the obvious. DAMAC does a lot of things, hospitality as a component, right? Where does hospitality, managed service departments, how does this all fit into the overall portfolio? Dean, let's start with you.
Sure. Well, I think for a long period of time, there has been a hospitality component within the organization. It goes back probably 15, 16 years. So service departments being the first element within our DAMAC Maison portfolio. And then obviously over a course of time, then the Paramount properties came in collaboration with our Radisson property and our Rotana.
So where does hotel inn and service department begin?
That's a good question. I think the way we look at managing it is as one ecosystem. So think of the iOS Apple system. It's about working with that in its totality and taking advantage of both key qualities that you see within the feeder markets that we can attract and seeing how we can merge those to get more benefit out of it, whether it be through a revenue perspective, cross collaboration of clientele, business segments, leisure, and what have you.
Yeah, we'll get to the revenue shortly. I love the iOS example, right? But how do you blur the line, right? We're in a hotel right now. We're in the beautiful Paramount Hotel in downtown Dubai. How do you blur the line between what's hotel, what's a home? People are starting businesses here. You've got all sorts of different clientele that are in this building right now. How do you balance all that before you even get into the data and the revenue aspect?
So I'll take that question.
Sure.
So I think that's the art of not blurring the line rather than merging it, because the travel industry is now moved to more experience than just finding accommodation. So even if you're going for a service apartment, they are expected to have an experience out of it. They are expected to have hospitality and have the same experience as what they will get in a hotel. So it's just how the lines of the hotel merge with service apartments. If you do it the right way, apart hotels are as good as a hotel would be.
Yeah, perfect.
And can I add to it? I think it's about the way in which we curate the actual approach to the booking process, right through the stay to, saying goodbye to the client. It's about having that curation so that you can, become a little bit more target driven in the approach based on the type of clientele that are coming in during the season. So I don't think it's one particular approach that fits all. I think you need to be flexible enough and have the right strategies in place to be able to focus on that moving forward.
Yeah, amazing. So there's two things I want to drill deeper in on what you both said. One is experience, one is curation. Where I'm really getting into is there's all the influencers and everybody else and people like me who have like 5 followers, right? That are also putting content out there based upon the space and the experience. And that becomes a syndication or a wider channel of curating potential customers, right? So how do you manage the brand, creating spaces that no matter where somebody takes a photo or video and posts it, it represents us in a good way?
Well, I think it's starting at the ground root, and you need to go back to basics and what we do before you even think of the digital. So it is about the way in which we go about identifying the right people for the roles within the business, developing them, obviously going through the training and what have you, so that you can create the ethos and the DNA within the property to actually therefore create an overall experience that when a client is in the hotel, a guest, an individual that's sitting at a restaurant table taking a photo, that the team have the ability to actually merge with that and be able to manage that situation. Because I and Akshay cannot be around all the time, neither can every manager within a business. So it's about making sure that you have the basic understanding that how should we interact with the client. And obviously, a very good example, I was over at Paramount Midtown last week in the evening, and we've launched a whole dinner experience up there on the poolside. And the staff have all been educated, and they're all younger people, so they are already very tech savvy. But how to engage with the client when they're looking to take that photo by the pool, that photo that's looking out over the Burj, and obviously becoming more partnership orientated with them, so that the outcome for the client is quality, but at the same time, the messaging that we're trying to achieve as a general rule in this very digitalized sort of world that we live in now is actually reflecting the brand and reflecting the DNA of what you're trying to get out there on a daily basis with each day, with each client that walks through your door.
Amazing. So I guess what matters more, a 5-star review on a booking website or 5 seconds on an influencer story at this point?
I think they're equally as important, because it depends on demographic, it depends on age group. Do I look at Instagram every day? No, I don't. Will I still, because I'm old, go and look at the old booking engines, the TripAdvisors to Booking.com? Possibly I will, because I see that as a more authentic way from my age demographic to actually get some feedback. For younger people that possibly are in their 20s and 30s, they'll look at what is posted on Instagram and see that as a benchmark for what they want to look at, because they may apply more, I don't know if it's trust, but more of their approach in what they want to book, what they want to buy through those platforms. So I don't think you can say one is more important than the other. I think you need to manage them equally to the best that you can to benefit the overall business moving forward.
Right.
See, and the 5 minutes, 5 seconds, or
You
5
wish it was
minutes.
5 minutes.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
5-second Instagram stories, that's what is the visibility, which reflects on the brand. But the 5-star rating is the sustainability, because to get a 5-star rating for every review, you have to connect on every touch point of the guest, starting from booking till the checkout, to reach that 5-star. And that's where I think comes the experience is what will deliver the 5-star review.
Yeah.
And the 5-second reel is what is be the visibility.
And can I just add to that?
Yeah.
If you're thinking about reviews online and the ratings that you give on whatever platform, Bookings, TripAdvisor, whatever the case may be, they then become, the results of those become part of your organic search. And obviously, the placement of those based on the number that you get and the overall percentage that you have actually place you at a particular level when people are Googling, lifestyle hotel in Dubai. Are you number 1 or on the first page, or are you on page 23? And that all represents, obviously, the way in which you're rated. Compare that to, say, an Instagram. It's a very different process. So it goes back to the point, you need to have a balanced approach for both and make sure you're targeting effectively so that you get the best result.
So let's pull the thread on that a little further and get it back into the revenue side.
Yeah.
Right. We've got our ratings, we've got our reviews, we've got our Instagram, we've got our influencers' Instagram. Here at DAMAC, we love data, we love ROI. Right. How do you decide what's worth investing in to get some of those earlier mechanics, right? To get the content created, to get the experience created. And then how do you measure that impact of if it was a good investment or not?
Sure.
The most interesting story, which is about, we just rolled out a guest loyalty program, and that's not even finished 7 months. Normally, a loyalty program matures in a long term. But since we have launched in Q4 2024, we've already seen a massive return on investment. There's the guest retentions, the direct bookings have increased, our brand perception with the GHA Alliance has drastically improved. We see a good return on our web share. So again, this is, when you do investment, and sometimes you get surprised by the return, which you would have expected that it's going to mature in a year or two. but you got a return on investment already from it.
Amazing. Dean, any other story you would tell?
Look,
And maybe we'll take a different angle with you. What's something that you thought was going to be amazing and was a complete flop, and why?
that hasn't happened. There you go. Look, there is always something. You don't get it right every day. I'm learning every day. The team are learning every day. So to be very specific, it could be as simple as I'll give you a great example. So over the course of the last 90 days or 90 days ago, we were asked to take on non-golf operations at Trump Golf Course because the existing food operator was leaving, so to speak. So we had roughly 60 days to migrate a team over there and obviously start on that. And the team did an excellent job, worked major hours to get ready, and we launched soft probably about 2 weeks ago. In the discussion, we talked about a lot of things, how the offering should be, how it should be focused on the membership of Trump Golf Course, because that's our key business. And then how do we focus and develop our offering out to the broader community within DAMAC Hills, one. We went back and forth, and and it was all about the menu, the pricing, how the overall proposition on what we would do. And I think when we first launched, even though the team did an exceptional job, and I seriously mean they worked very hard. We went out with an offering at breakfast time where we got a lot of constructive feedback from the regular members that came in, and we felt that presenting it in one package at that given time, even though there were a number of different elements to that, it may not have met with all the requirements of those people that are coming in on a regular basis. So we took on that feedback over the first, 7 to 10 days, and we've now, amended the offering to fit more to the type of clientele that are coming in, which are primarily the golf members in the morning, the early part of the morning. So I don't think it needs to be something big and grand. It can be something as small as that, because that is, how we approach that and how we react to that. And we had to react quickly and effectively to make sure that the process continued the way we wanted to proceed over the next 3-6 months, is that you need to be adaptable and you need to be open to that constructive feedback. So like I said, it doesn't need to be big, because that would have had a domino effect on a number of things if we had it stuck by, but dug our heels in and not actually made an member or a change to what we were trying to do, because we had a different perspective.
How do you balance what you just talked about? It's a great example. How do you balance what the data is telling you versus what the customers are telling you versus what from a gut feeling from being in the business for as long as you've been in?
Well, I think in the olden days, before we had the type of social media we had then, it was about the GM or the head of commercial. What's their gut instinct? What is their experience? There is still an element of that. That's really key. Experience is always important in whatever you do, but we're in an age where we receive a lot more data, whether that is in terms of our financials, our segmentation, our feeder markets, sub segments, and then you've got the whole customer element that we touched on earlier, whether it be bookings.com, whether you're looking at ROI in terms of your spend with Instagram or whomever. I think it's about culminating all the information and obviously deep diving into what is required. I think it's also about looking at the seasonality of the times that you're focused on. And I think, one thing that I noticed when we first came or encountered, we were constantly trying to catch up in that first 12 months, because there are a lot of key fundamentals that were only partially in play and not to the level that we needed to be. So I think it's about having, 3 tiers to looking at the immediate. And when I say the immediate in our business, the next 30 to 45 days, having that midterm that takes you out 90 days to 120, and then a more long-term approach over the next 12 months, and where you can actually focus on the following year, because our business to a degree is very transactional. So the customer relationship part is essential to that longer term business model.
And how do you two work together to balance the numbers versus the gut feel then?
We meet regularly, daily,
Yes,
coffee.
we do.
Yeah, so we sit down. There are structured meetings within the business. So each of the hotels now have revenue meetings, which are ongoing on a weekly basis. those revenue meetings involve the entire commercial team, the operational teams that are required there, and the general managers, and they're looking at each component of our business segmentation, how that dovetails into our food and beverage and our other revenues, whether that be spa, whatever the case may be. And then obviously at the end of each month, we have P&L reviews, and we also have one-to-ones. But in terms of Akshay and I, we talk daily, but we meet on a weekly basis to go through the next 30 and 60 days to see where the opportunities are that have been identified through those revenue meetings, but also to identify any pitfalls, any challenges, because I think the one thing you don't want to be waiting for that red flag to go up. As soon as you do that, the capitulation is there. So it's about getting that balance and making sure communication is key.
So we've gone from gut feeling to data. Now we've got AI probably getting
Yeah.
layered in.
Hmm.
How's that working for you? Is it uncovering any new metrics or measurements that you're looking at? Is it validating any assumptions or biases you've had along the way? How's that story playing out?
So yeah, so like in the last 12 months, we had the postmortem done a lot, where the data really helped us to understand what are the areas where we need to make the improvements. See, in our business, gut will always be there because way forward is where the market dynamics, the geopolitical issues, the economical factors, they all play a key role, and no AI or data can predict that. And that's the human element which we have to put inside the AI tool as well to make them understand what are the seasons coming up to dissect and throw back the decisions and support us on making the right decisions. So, how AI has supported us and would continue to support is firstly getting the back data clean, well fed in, have the future predictions right in the system. So, the complicated algorithms, along with the future data put in, can provide us the deeper analysis and support us on the right decisions. So then one of the most important metrics which has helped us through this is cost of sales.
Okay.
So we were in the last 12 months with the limited data which we had, and we have invested a lot of time and money to get our data right. Now we are in the position to do a cost optimization and channel optimization from if a person or a guest has made a booking from, let's say, booking.com and funnel down to our system, what are the cost levels which has impacted us versus a booking which has come through investment on the Instagram booster and booked through our brand website. So to that granular level, we can easily analyze and understand when should we be boosting our online campaigns direct versus when should be optimizing through our third party sources.
Amazing. So how much of that is changing sort of the mix between the booking process being a exact science, which it sounds like it's becoming, or maybe more of the psychology of the buyer or the customer?
See that for me as a ratio, it will always be 60/40. With 60% is where the data driven information or science will support us, whereas the 40% is where it is the human intervention, whether it's a combination of 20% putting back in the system of what they should be looking into versus us as what we call the gut to play that pivotal role in getting the decisions right.
I agree with Akshay, and I think it's the industry we work in. It's never certainly in my lifetime. It's not going. It won't become purely AI driven. A client comes into a hotel or picks up a phone or however they still want to talk to a client. How many times do you go online and you want to talk to someone at the bank and you get a chat bot that's talking to you and you never get the answer? It becomes even more, would I say complicated, but more in detail when you're thinking about hotels and curating that stay for the individual business traveler that's walking in, or whether it's what we would call a VVIP that's coming in requiring X, Y, and Z. So I think 60/40 is probably a clear split. And, we take opportunity where we see new enhancements where we can garner more data points from the information. I think it's very important that we do that, but I think equally there's no point, drawing further data out if you don't have the capacity to actually utilize it to its full potential. So, it's absolutely a balancing act to make sure that we approach it in the most effective manner to get the best, ROI and the best information that we can get from that data point or those data points.
Yeah, wonderful. People. It sounds like people come to hotels and residents like this for the experience, not for something that they could get through a video game, essentially.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's important.
So let's look a little bit wider. Obviously, we've been focusing on the hotel aspect quite a bit. You gave a lovely example, Dean, around what's going on with the Trump Golf Course. And you manage a much wider portfolio than just the hotels, right? How do you integrate that all together, from experiences, how you manage the business? Because it's a pretty sizable plate that you guys have. How do you do it?
I think it's a variety of different things. I think firstly, for me, if you like the boss, surround yourself with people that know more about their respective roles than what I do, because I don't have all the answers. And obviously create a platform for them to have a voice, put forward their constructive views, and then take a collective approach. Obviously, the buck stops with me, but I think you need to approach it in that manner. And if I think back to 2 years, 3 months ago, where we had a portfolio of 9 hotels, we now have facility management under within our portfolio now for our respective mixed-use developments. I added another 4,500 units, and another 10 locations. We obviously work on a numerous projects that have hospitality components. One being the Mandarin in the Maldives. Obviously, we work alongside projects team and the leasing team on Lagoons Hub, because there is a big hospitality component there. And a variety of other projects. And then most recently, the integration of Trump Golf Course, and working alongside Philip, the general manager over there. So I think, communication is key, training is key, and you need to have flexibility. You need to have a team of people around you that approach things in a very practical, planned manner as well. And, for me, it's about, I'm very analytical with a lot of things, so I like to make sure that we have a very clear goal of where we want to get to and how we're going to do that. So whether you think critical path with clear components and date lines in which you want to achieve something, and who's responsible and how you follow that up. But, I think what we've been able to achieve over the last couple of years is key to the people that work with me. And, we're very fortunate to have been able to put a team together that are as passionate about what they do, and I think that's critical.
Yeah, again,
certainly in our industry.
people matter.
Yeah, people
that's
are
the thing.
critical in everything.
Are you finding any learnings as you expand the portfolio, of things that you can sort of take from one area of the portfolio and adapt it to another area, and things that would come back into maybe the portfolio that you're more experienced with, and bringing learnings into there as well?
I think so. I mean, if you look at Trump Golf Course and the non-golf operations, there were a lot of areas that were not in a good place. There's a lot of great things that the Paramount hotels do. Our partnership with Radisson and Rotana as well, what they do in their own properties. So taking those real, benchmark key learnings that we already have in play. Also taking the talent that we have. We've got some really talented chefs, really talented F&B people, and taking them, putting together the task force and migrating them over there. One, it's a benefit to that particular operation, because we're moving very good talent over to build the standards, the SOPs, so forth. At the same time, it creates a funnel where we give people opportunity. Because some of those people have chosen to actually take a full-time position over there, which is great. Because we're not Marriott, so we don't have a position open for everybody all the time. So it also creates that talent and career progression, which is critical to retaining, great people within the organization. So, yeah.
Wonderful. Anything you'd add?
It's a big portfolio we have. And it is important that we have the right mindset and the collaboration to enhance every opportunity because as Dean said, there is enough talent within the portfolio. And having the talent, how do we collaborate between commercial operations, marketing? How do we make the experiences stand out? Because a golf course, a product mix is different to a Paramount, to a DAMAC Maison, Mandarin Oriental, which is a resort, will have a different location, different client altogether.
Yes, I'm very excited about that one.
We
Personally.
all are. but
Little
there
bit more
is
time.
there is so much of collaboration needed, the mindset change needed, and how do we work together to make that happen? That's the only way the ecosystem can work on its most peak performance to deliver what we are delivering.
Wonderful.
And can I just add to it? You should be looking to add the best learnings that you have from each element. If I go back to when we integrated the portion of loans facility management with us back in November of last year, there were a lot of great things that the team were doing. But the whole idea was to take elements of the hospitality and elevate the good things that they're already doing. So sitting down and having those meetings in a formal and informal manner to understand where the opportunities were, where the crunch points were for the existing team there, where we could come in and support and obviously enhance, whether that's training, whether that's communication, whether that is liaising with them in owner committees and whatever the case may be, product enhancements. So I think it's taking the best of both worlds, putting aside those things that are not helping the business, and take an active step in moving those two elements together, or multiple elements to move forward. But every day is a learning day, so it keeps it interesting, and I think that's important.
I agree. I'm going to actually use that soundbite from you, Dean. Every day is a learning day.
Yeah,
That-
trademark.
yes,
Yeah, trademark.
That resonates with me very on a personal level.
Yeah.
Well, let's zoom back out at the portfolio level, back to the customer, right? As we begin to wrap up. Who is the customer these days, right? You've got digital nomads, you've got multiple generations, down to what are we up to now? Gen Alpha or something like that.
Yeah.
No, it's like, I think my kids are like Gen Beta. I don't even think they have a generational tag
Running
yet.
out alphabet, no?
Yeah, exactly. We'll
Yeah.
have to start going to like Omega and whatnot.
Yeah.
And who's the customer? And how do you make sure that you meet the experience and delight the customer across all those different customer bases, across all those different portfolio
Yeah.
segments?
That's why I think the Mac has evolved from being a hotel assets to be hospitality. We cater for every style of accommodation, whether it's whether it's a golf course or whether it's a service apartment. We have a holiday home staycay, so we cater for everyone. Now, like the Gen X or Gen Zs or
Gen something.
the new generation, I will call it. So they are more towards the being digitalized, being sustainable, having less of frills, more of reality, more of experience. So we cater for them. When it comes to millennials, we have our like Paramount, then we have Radisson's. So there is a asset and product mix for each one of the guest demographics.
I think I go back to the word I used earlier. You curate based on the partnerships you have. You can't just assume that everyone that's coming in is 20 to 35 or 36 to 50. It's through the partnerships that you create. There's still a very strong, and will be for a long time, DMC ecosystem out there, which is the tour groups and what have you, to the high-end network people that are working with those VIP concierge. So I think you need to understand what sort of product that you have, where you're targeting, where your feeder markets are coming from. Are they more regional? Are they more international? Is that during certain times of the year, Q1 to Q4? So how do you want to reach out to them? How do you want to communicate? What platforms are you using? Who have you contracted with to help you spearhead that, and how you can obviously support that primary driver with a secondary to give you more opportunities. So I don't think there is one answer that really gives you an overall element of understanding. I think it's about flexibility. I think it's about being dynamic, because our business is incredibly dynamic when it comes to the commercial offering. And making sure that it's not just one layer. It's a little bit like an onion. We need to take a layered approach to make sure that we're approaching each demographic and clientele base, not individual, but clientele base with the right information and the right platform detail that will actually incentivize them to consider us as a location, whether it be service departments, whether it be holiday homes, whether it be a service department, whatever the case may be.
Wonderful.
Personalization and customization, they are the
Yes.
two key elements.
Suki. All right, perfect. That's a great way to wrap up. But before we do wrap up, let's do something where you can only give one answer. A little rapid fire, shall we?
Like one each, or
Well, Dean first, and then Akshay. Which is better at telling the real story, the revenue or the reviews?
They go hand in hand.
No, you have to pick one or the other, Dean.
Were there some T&Cs on this? Gee. Well, look, probably revenue, simply because the higher your revenue is, you would assume that your reviews are doing well.
Nice. Well played.
Okay.
same
Same question.
the other way around. For me, reviews, because reviews is what will curate and customize to get the revenues
Wonderful.
desired.
Something I'm very curious about. How many years until we have robot butlers in our rooms?
They're already there.
What?
They're already in the market.
Every room?
Not in our hotels, but they're all already very much in the market.
How many years until that's the commonplace? Is as common as having a TV in your room?
Oh, gee. I think it depends on, it's not a one word answer.
Depends on investment.
It's already in
What
place.
number answer?
It's already in place.
It's
You
in
go to Singapore. Singapore hotels already have those.
Japan has a
Japan have it. They're already there.
Yeah.
And it will be driven by markets that have less accessibility to affordable associates in terms of payroll. And you see that in Singapore, you see it in Japan.
See, for me, robots or Autobot is essential for hospitality, but to do the works which human should not be doing it. But the human element, serving gentleman to a gentleman, that needs to still stay.
Yes. Yes, you guys have been very consistent around the human element aspect.
Yes.
I've enjoyed that. All right, last one. What's the most overrated hotel feature?
You can do that one.
And for me,
Yeah, you do.
pillow menus.
Pillow menus.
It's not required. It's a vanity.
It's a vanity.
Yeah, I think that, I'd probably align with that, actually.
Okay.
I think, and let me tell you, most of the time, pillows that are on a pillow menu, unless it is an extremely well-managed hotel, it'll be sitting in a closet somewhere, possibly in packaging, possibly not. So, maybe if you're staying at the Savoy in London, okay, but if you're staying at a particular brand of hotel, I won't mention any, then I would question whether you're really getting what you expect to get.
Okay. When you heard it here first, pillow menu is overrated. Guys, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Good to meet you, Chris.
See you, man.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.